With an airlift now on, the processing center at the airport became inundated with Vietnamese hoping to get out.
Started off with just dozens, and then became hundreds, and then became thousands of people that were queuing, you know, to get screened, to get interviewed.
It was panicky. The people were apprehensive. The Vietnamese, when we were there, they didn't like to wait in lines very much. So they would push and prod, try to get ahead of the line. When they opened that up, I took my girlfriend and my 3-year-old stepdaughter over there, and it was still a long, drawn-out thing. It was an all-day event.
Patraz was luckier than some. He was spotted by a fellow Marine working at the center.
He came up to me and he said, "Sergeant Patraz, there are some no-shows on some of these flights. If you want, I'll see if I can put her on some of these flights." He came up to me and he said, "Okay, she's on the next flight out." He picked up her suitcase, put my little 3-year-old stepdaughter on his back, and he rushed up to the plane and put him on the plane and got him out of there. And he was my hero that day. I'll never forget that.
The process was a little more complicated for those Vietnamese not married to an American.
Each of us had to fill out the application, and the people who have seniority would leave first. I was told that when the time to come, they would come and collect me. Make sure I leave the address and have someone at the time, all the time, so they would come and collect me.
I mean, I actually had a family come in one time. I remember, I think they were Chinese, Vietnamese. There must have been 75, 100 people in this one family. But in the Asian and Vietnamese family context, you know, they didn't make these fine distinctions we made between immediate family and a family. You know, the extended family was all family. There was no such thing as family, non-family, you know, your immediate family and then your distant family. And I mean, this is a Western concept.
I was told I could leave if I would take only 2 younger sister and brother. But I have my family who could just leave your parents, especially in Vietnam, and I was single, so I lived with my parents all my life. I couldn't think of the thought that I would take my 2 youngers and get on the plane and leave Vietnam, not knowing what would happen to my parents, and how could I? So I decided to stay so that I could take all of my family, so they kicked me further down on the list.
Over the next week, thousands of people were flown out of Saigon.
The number of sorties from Saigon to Clark Air Base has soared to 100 a day. It's a 5-hour round trip with the airlift suspended each night. The majority of the evacuees are Americans and their families and dependents. In less than a week, the number of Americans in Vietnam has dropped by more than half to below 3,000.
Nothing is more devastating than you come into work and you know that your boss left and not even a word to say goodbye to you, to tell you I was leaving. And you felt betrayed. You felt betrayed and you resent that kind of treatment. And then 2 of my co-workers who were there longer than I am just disappear. And you come in and the desk just empty, and you have to support to consulting them on some of the paperwork, and they disappear, and they left already. They left last night, and not even a word to say goodbye.
Well, the last few weeks of April, when we find out that the American and all the people that work for them leaving, that make us very resentful and hate them, because we always thought that they're going to fight with us to the very end. And you know, for a lot of us, we do believe them. You know, I mean, why not? At that time, we believe America is the most powerful country in the world. And, you know, they can send people to the moon, you know. Why not, you know, beat the communists? And, or at least, you know, guarantee that they're not, you know, invading us. And, yeah, so there's a sense of, very strong sense of resentment toward the American. But under all of this, it's a sense of like, okay, I wish we can go to America, you know. And so it's a very strange feeling for us, because we hate them, but yet we want to be like them.